Welcome to Our Life the Way. How to be self-sustainable with minimal resources. Decreasing availability of food staples or limiting purchases, increasing prices, and record-breaking visits to food banks across Canada. Is it even possible to become self-sufficient if you can't even afford basic necessities such as food? When people feel stuck or trapped, they become desperate, or they become determined to create change. In just a few moments, we're going to show you how you can create your own self-sustainability even when you think it's impossible, since you don't have a 5 or 6 figure bank account or even hundreds of acres of land. But first, please like and subscribe to shake up YouTube's algorithm, ultimately showing you more of what interests you. So we're going to show you where to begin, how to cut costs, and what to avoid. But why should you listen to us? We know it's possible because we did it and we're continuing to do it. We're in our 50s, no farming experience, and we have minimal building exposure. But we have a huge desire for change. We are determined to create the life that we knew and know that we could have, that we deserve to have, and that all people should have access to. So, where to begin? The most daunting task is how to start. Many feel the sticker shock when looking at items in a store and realize that many things are beyond what our lifestyle can afford. And the result is a sense of hopelessness. No way to get ahead. So where to begin? Very simple terms, you start where you are. Even when it seems like you have no funds to start, there's always a way. Even if you live in a studio apartment, share living quarters, or still living with your parents, start where you're at. Self-sustainability and self-sufficiency are overlapping states of being in which a person or an organization needs little or no help or interaction with others. Self-sufficiency entails the self being enough, and a self-sustaining entity can maintain self-sufficiency indefinitely. That's what Wikipedia says self-sufficiency is. So how do you become self-sustainable? Self-sufficiency is a mindset and a way of life that takes a lifetime to live out. The journey of 1,000 steps begins with a single first step. Here are some ways to take that very first step. Get planters and begin growing your own food. Learn to preserve the food that you have. Buy less processed or less already made foods. Cook from scratch. Choose cloth over disposable items. Save seeds from fruits and vegetables that you can then replant afterwards. Save and collect rainwater. Get to know local producers and farmers. And begin researching and joining media groups on areas that interest you. So now we're going to show you how to cut costs. Cost cutting doesn't have to feel like a punch to the gut. You know that feeling of stripping all that you know and living on scraps? But it does require an honest look at your current lifestyle and where things can be skimmed to bring you closer to your dream. Start by looking at your bank account. Look at subscriptions you have, where you're doing takeout meals. Look at your ATM fees. bank charges, unnecessary purchases, and even when purchases are made. Then check the value of your home. Are you able to downsize to minimize monthly payments? Here's where you get a little creative. Maybe sell and invest part of the proceeds to compound the process. Live on less and save at a higher rate. How about the vehicle that you drive? Can you downgrade to a less expensive model or one that consumes less fuel? The gas prices these days, that's a real thing. What about giving up a vehicle altogether and put that money aside or in an account that's not easily accessible, and then save at a higher interest rate to bring you closer again to the life that you're looking for? So some of these ideas may not be applicable to you, but it gives you a place to start. There's many other areas that might be an option to go with other than these ones as well. So how about switching from new purchases to secondhand? Saying no more to going out. Not as in no more going out, but just saying no more than you're saying yes. Moving from name brand items to no name, and opting to make gifts instead of buying. The bottom line comes down to how much do you desire the life that you're working towards? What is your why? Now looking at what to avoid. This is not about scolding or shaming if you have experienced or done some of the things we'll be sharing, but rather to give insight and to save on some areas that could be potential pitfalls. The saying goes, those that fail to plan to fail. So let's begin with that. This lifestyle is not one to simply wing it or make impulse decisions one day that you're going to live self-sustainably. That said, there's no better time to start than right now. Plan for the first year, then create a 5-year vision, and then a 10-year long-term outlook. Notably, one of the most common areas of overwhelm is when you go for all the things right away. This ultimately leads to burnout of epic proportions. So keep it simple, sweetheart. Start small. Give yourself time to adjust and get used to what you have implemented. When adding animals, ensure you give enough time for the animals to adjust as well. In looking what to avoid, you are essentially learning from others' mistakes, or lessons as I like to call them. There will be plenty of lessons to be learned along the way. So keep in mind some of the potential pitfalls as stepping stones to help you create a better, more solid foundation as you move into your desired way of life. And again, this is not to shame or criticize those lessons, but rather learn from those before us. And when you experience an instance of, oops, I could have done X, Y, or Z, take that knowledge to heart. And always, always go back to your why. Why is this way of life so important to you? This will help you move forward and through the challenges that are bound to come. So now you've got the goods. For a bit of a recap, we covered where to begin, how to cut costs, and what you can avoid. So thanks so much for joining us for this session, and make sure to subscribe to Our Life the Way. See you on our next session.